UCR, what's your favorite scary movie?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Can you smell it? There's something in that good old Derry air. Smells like
I see what
clowns. I know, right?
I
Welcome
see
back
what
to
you did.
Uncensored Horror and the much threatened return to Derry because we are going to discuss 2017's It.
Oh God.
Now,
Doesn't get
we
easier.
got together a while ago, and we
We
have
did.
our special guest, Mr. Kenny Legs, back with us. He has crawled out from the sewer to join us today.
The only
Now,
redhead I really want in my life.
I definitely saw this one in cinemas,
Not that
right?
fucking clown.
Everyone's a cinema kid for this one.
I saw this
Oh,
in
yeah.
the cinema. Yes, I did. And acted like a big baby about it. Shocking,
No,
right?
again.
Hating it. Well, the reason that we are doing it now is not only because of the upcoming release of the TV series based on this show called Welcome to Derry, which is coming to HBO in October, but this weekend, folks, it is heading back to cinemas just in time
Oh,
for spooky season. They are doubling down on this Pennywise pound, and they're gonna ring it for all it's worth.
I
So
think busy this weekend.
busy. Well, they've got a little bit of competition. The Strangers is out this weekend as well too. So it's a good time for horror movie fans. There's a lot of stuff coming out,
Oh yeah.
but we can't really. We've got to talk about the clown at hand. So this movie has been. I remember after seeing the original, as we discussed last time,
Mm-hmm.
there has been a discussion about a big screen remake of this movie since forever. Now, the official synopsis says it went into development in 2009, but I remember hearing before that there was always talk of an It cinematic movie coming. And it
No.
was just in development hell, like most Stephen King things are.
Here's the thing. I've always kind of heard like, oh, who would be your dream Pennywise? And I always kind of ignored it because how do you top Tim Curry?
Right.
I think our successor made a
It'll be an
discussion.
interesting discussion.
But that's the most discussion that I had heard of it is like if they were going to cast a new movie, who would be Pennywise? And I'll tell you, Bill Skarsgård was never on my radar, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, he wasn't originally on anyone's radar
This is
because he was not the first. He was not the person attached to the property to start with. It was Will Poulter
Wouldn't
for
have
a
picked
very
him
long
either.
time.
Would not have picked him either.
And I think it might have been a very interesting and a very different Pennywise, I think, compared to Skarsgård's.
Now,
So it's not
Poulter
something
has-
we'll
Yeah, they wouldn't have
see,
had the
but-
eye to work on and the little
like,
Whoville lip.
did
They
Will
would have had to change it up a
Poulter,
bit.
is he the one that was in Gotham? Am I thinking the same
he's
guy?
He's the guy from what's that Jennifer Aniston movie?
Well,
We're the
I knew
Millers.
that, but what else did he do? Like, am I
He's been in
thinking of
lots
the
of
right
Hunger
Hunger
redhead?
Games. The Hunger Games.
Yeah, no, he's not the Joker from.
That's what I was trying to
From
decide.
Gotham,
So he was in We
different
Are the
guy.
Millers. What else
Yeah.
did he do? I'm
Lots
looking
of
it up
stuff.
quickly because it's bothering
Look
me.
him up quickly.
It's bothering me, but we can continue moving while I'm.
He's very generic. He's very generic, handsome, blonde-haired American boy. You know.
So before we had even considered him for it, we had him in the Chronicles of Narnia.
There we go.
We Are the Millers, of course. He was also in The Maze Runner.
Right. Yeah, he was
What I
too.
meant.
Mhm.
I said Hunger Games, but I meant Maze Runner.
Same
Yeah.
I mean,
difference.
they are
Lots
the same.
of kids dying.
They are literally the same thing. Do not come for me, fandom people. Do not come for me.
Books are great. I like them both.
I like the books too, but
I'm a Hunger Games fan over the other. So
I preferred the Hunger Games too, but again, neither here nor there. He was in Midsommar, and I totally forgot about that.
there we go. So
All right. We'll take
let's
some
talk.
serious.
All right, let's before we even talk about the movie, let's talk about one of the most controversial things besides the Pennywise: the change in decade. So originally, the first one was set in the 60s and the 90s, and this one was set in the 80s and the early 2000s or early to mid 2000s. I think it was a smart move to do it because the appeal is there for the people that, like me, I still remember to this day watching it on television when it first came out and being absolutely terrified because I was a child at that age when, there was a clown eating children. Cut forward however many years, and now I have the adult version of me who is still quite concerned about a Pennywise-shaped clown eating children that used eating adults that used to be children. So it has that cross appeal, and I think everyone in our age bracket can relate to that 80s, early 90s vibe that they've got going in this movie. Right?
Definitely.
I mean, I'm always going to be worried that there is a clown chasing me. And really, this whole franchise is to blame. And I love Stephen King. He is one of my favorite authors, but I'm never going to forgive him for this. And part of me always thinks that maybe I should just kind of show them who's boss and get a Pennywise tattoo. Like, I'm not afraid of you anymore.
Just look at him all the time.
On your face.
All the time.
Yep. But then there's going to be a rainy day, and I'm going to drop something. It's going to go
down the sewer drain, and fuck.
Yep. And then we're going to be face to face and have a big friggin' issue all over again, aren't we?
Well, I thought it worked because the nostalgia, obviously, for the 80s/90s version, or it was 90s, sorry, the 90s version of the miniseries, we could still relate to that childhood. I think that there would be a struggle for today's teenagers to relate to these kids that didn't have social, like, how does Pennywise manifest in a social media world or a world with cell phones and stuff?
He's
like
a virus.
that for kids.
Right.
But it was very of its time. I think they do a great job of time and place in both, because this is definitely some of the best, like, late 80s, early 90s moments in, like,
whenever I was a kid.
in-
Whenever I was a kid watching the old one, whenever they were younger, in the 50s, it seemed like forever ago, like ancient times. And
Right.
now for me to think that kids are watching it thinking, oh, the 80s, those are ancient times, it hurts a little bit, but
It
it's
does hurt.
relatable.
I think if it was going to take place today, Pennywise would start showing up in the middle of Fortnite with all that Riz,
Right.
and skibbity toilet,
Yeah.
whatever. I wish my oldest was up right now so I could just really embarrass him with all this slang. But
It'd be more of a Ghost in the Machine kind of thing.
he'd be like,
true.
he'd be like a skin in Fortnite. He'd be on TikTok. He'd be just showing up in all these random places. Like, he'd be sending you text
We could
messages.
probably be giving them ideas for a new sequel, so we should probably
Don't
stop.
fucking do it. Okay? Like, it's done. Okay?
Oh,
It's
there
done.
he is.
No, it's
No,
not
it's
done.
done.
It's
It's
not
done.
done yet.
It's done.
It's
No,
not
we're
done
gonna
yet,
do the
baby.
prequel, and that's fine. But it's done. Let's pump out some new ideas here. We don't need to keep revisiting the old ones. I'm okay. I'm going to go off
Let's
on a
pump
tangent, and
ourselves.
this is going to go on for hours.
Let's pump ourselves into the barrens of this movie, shall we? So we opened in October 1988. Oh, little Stevie, baby Stevie. Oh, it's the bubba. Oh, so cute. And
Still so
a little
cute.
bit of a different opening. But we do get kind of a beat for beat from the beginning with Georgie. Now, we're going to say a lot of things about casting. They definitely got Georgie right. I think the biggest thing is to find an innocent, sweet little child that you're like, oh, nothing will go wrong. And then something horrible happens to him.
That child is so freaking cute. It
Poor
just
Georgie.
breaks me every time.
Especially with 2 arms. He was really cute.
He was very cute.
You know
with 2
what
arms.
cracks me up is seeing all the behind the scenes footage of
Just him
those-
without it.
no,
Yeah.
no, well, yes, and then of Bill
Yeah.
Skarsgård in like full Pennywise outfits, just running around like giving the kids hugs, and it's just like it's totally normal. It's totally fine. That was a totally organic, like healthy,
But also
that
a
no one
very
was scared.
different, a very different reaction, interaction to what Tim Curry did with the other kid. He stayed away from the kids, to
Right.
keep them, so times change, and the way people. I think these kids are definitely actors, as we'll talk about when we get into them, and
Well, yeah,
they are very good at their jobs, and they understand that it's a job, and they're Hollywood kids, they get it.
yes,
But I like this opening kind of borrows a little bit more from the book, and we go downstairs to the basement, and we have that little fake out of the boiler, or was it the
Yeah.
boiler?
Mhm.
I was getting
movie-
Freddy vibes.
Right, 100%. He's like, oh god, Kruger's down there too. Are you on
Yeah, right.
the street? Is that okay?
Is this all
But-
right?
There is especially in this movie, a pervasive sense of foreboding and darkness all the time. You've got to be looking in the background, because that's where a lot of the cool stuff happens, in the background, and we'll keep talking about
Mhm.
it as it happens. But Billy, great casting for Bill. It's a hard little lead role to
Yeah,
master, but Jaden Bartell does an amazing job.
I'm not mad at any of the casting in any of the films.
No.
I think it was done
Uh,
spectacularly and with
We
great
get
care.
our sailboat. We get our beautiful sailboat. We call. I love that they kept that we call it the she sailboat.
She.
A she, because it matters. It matters later on. Didn't matter in the first one, but it matters in this one.
Shouldn't have mattered. You could have made another one.
It shouldn't have mattered. But we get Georgie runs out into the rain, and even that, like the music, and so because we know what's going to happen, everything is very. There's dread. Even like the color palette, it's gray. Everything's gray. Everything's. You're like, oh, it's happening. It's happening, even
it's
though
not
we
good.
don't want it to. What I did love about this, and because it has obviously a bigger budget, it's a proper Hollywood film, we get to see a little bit more of the town reacting or not reacting or ignoring what's going on, and more so in the second movie. But it starts here when Georgie's sailboat goes down the drain. All right,
Mhm.
let's talk about Bill.
Let's talk about Bill.
Let's talk about Bill. With Tim Curry, I think the whole thing that made him terrifying was that he looked like a regular clown until he spoke and delivered his lines with such menace and such intent. It's almost the juxtaposition for Bill's,
Mhm.
because his Pennywise is fucking creepy looking, but he has
Yeah.
that goofy ass voice.
See, that totally takes me out of it. Like, I think he's less like intimidating to me. And even though I am horrified of Pennywise in every shape and form, this to me was just way less like scary. And I don't know if it's because Bill Skarsgård is a very, very, very attractive man, and you can kind of still see it through the makeup, or if it's like the cross eye, or
Do you
because
know what
the
I think
prosthetics
it
made him
is?
drool. I don't know. It
That was a
came
character.
off goofy
That was a
to me.
character choice too. I think, and it was watching it again this time that I kind of noticed it, because even the way he moves and the way he manifests itself, it goes back to the book that Pennywise was a construction of every clown that they had seen. It's a manifestation. It looks slightly different to everyone. So this Pennywise is kind of this weird old school jester meets goofy, like kids cartoon show clown. And when he presents that kind of innocent, goofy like thing, but underneath there is that not rightness to him, the eye that goes, as he said, the drool, the teeth. It slowly reveals. He comes up as, he presents as not threatening, even though he looks threatening, is what I'm trying to say, without rumbling too much more. But he's the manifestation. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I interpret it was basically like the way he looks as a clown was kind of how clowns looked in the beginning. So that's whenever he first took on that thing. And in the 80s movie, they just didn't have the budget and didn't really care that much. So they just put Tim
it's down
Curry
to
in his little
interpretation
outfit
and
from
how close they wanted to go to the source material. And they kind of really hit the book a lot more in this one, obviously, because they've got the time to and they've got the budget to.
And I think it says something about both actors, because here you have Tim Curry, Bill Skarsgård, who are both very dynamic and versatile actors. I mean, they have clearly mastered their craft. I mean, you look at Tim Curry, who Clue and Rocky Horror and some of his biggest roles, and then you think of him as Pennywise the Clown. And he is just so polarizing in that role. I mean, he is terrifying. Like the way his posture, his voice, the makeup, just everything about him just screams, there's something not right here. This is not going to go well for me. And with Bill Skarsgård, he's putting it all into it too. The vibe is off, but it's unsettling in a completely different way.
He's kind of more Uncanny Valley-esque. It's like it looks not right. It looks like it should be right, but there's always something off, like the eye, like the drool, like
when you say that,
like he's about to snap.
Like when you say that
specifically,
I go right to the sewer scene where we are watching him dance. Yeah. And it all looks normal. I love it. It all looks completely normal. He's dancing, but it's just something is off. It's not off. Right. Yeah. It's not right.
I think that might be a little manifestation of a world that we're not supposed to see. The whole thing about the kids seeing him is that the adults don't see it. So it has to be normal, but not. It has to have that kind of weird moment. And like in the original or the miniseries, the skeleton coming up out of the lake, the werewolf, all that kind of stuff that we would never see. This is kind of a little bit more reality based. It's a reality warping kind of universal thing, which really does tie into the book. So it would be interesting to learn a bit more about that. But the one thing that is real is definitely the amount of blood in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, arms bleed, baby. That's all I'm gonna say.
And you know
arms
what?
Bleed.
I'm gonna say
things bleed.
That neighbor. She's not a neighbor I want. She's not a neighbor I want. And this is probably a question that the miniseries not the miniseries, the TV series will answer. Are they implicit in what's up? Is the town implicit? Do they let this thing have these kids, or do they genuinely not see it?
Or does it have a slight control over the town?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be an interest. I think it's a big thing to expand on in a TV series that I think that they've definitely guaranteed themselves at least 3 seasons. So I mean, there's going to be plenty of story.
Think about it. If tomorrow you were looking outside and it was raining and there was a small child next to like a drain like that, would you yell out to the kid, "Are you okay?" Like, wouldn't you like check on the kid? Like, "Are you okay? Is something wrong?" Or would you just kind of stay like, "What the hell's that kid doing?" Like, I think I would like just, dude, are you okay? Like, did you lose something?
A lot of blood, man. Are you all right?
He did lose something, Katie. He lost a couple of things. He lost a couple of
I mean,
things.
prior to that, like if I saw him just kind of sitting there like squatting, like, what are you doing? Get away from there.
Yeah, it looks like he's talking to something down there.
Right. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And then like fine, I'll give her a little credit. She saw the blood on the street and she probably went and called the cops. But a little too late.
I do love that shot though, that overhead shot of the arm coming out and then like the blood blooming, and it's beautifully shot for a horror movie, for a child murder.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
It's really cool looking.
they push that jaw things. Like, obviously, we could only do so much and put some funky teeth in Tim Curry's mouth, but the whole distended jaw mouth thing
Oh,
was
yeah.
Pretty awesome too.
Really
I
look
think
like a
you can get
creature.
away with CG. Yeah, you can get away with CGI in a movie like this because it's not reality based. No one's going to go, that demon mouth doesn't look correct.
She's on the hunt. I think what bothers me the most about Pennywise's mouth is all the teeth. Like not so much the
Right.
sharpness of them. It's just there's
Just a lot
so
of them. It's very
many of
sharky,
them.
very.
It
It just shows
it-
that he's an apex
bothers me.
predator, right?
right.
Yeah.
It just bothers me a little bit. He's not here. It's okay. It's okay. He's not here.
She's got xenomorphs to deal with, you know. They're on
It-
Earth
it-
now,
it rem-
according to Disney. Plus.
His
He's
mouth
busy.
reminded me of the little worms from Dreamcatchers, how they would.
Oh,
the
you know what?
mouths
That's a
that
good
went
point.
kind of sideways instead of like that. That's what his mouth reminded me of.
Solid point.
Elliot.
Okay.
So we then flash forward a year, or nearly a year, to June 1989, where we meet our child stars. Obviously, we've already met Bill, but we meet his friends, Richard Dozier, Eddie Kasbrak, and Stanley Uris. My favorite. The kid that plays Eddie, Jack
Oh.
Dylan Grazer, won this movie for me. He
Oh, yeah.
is so funny. His delivery, his timing, and there is a behind the scenes thing where later in the movie he has his encounter with Pennywise, and Skarsgård was genuinely concerned that he was going too far with the portrayal and like terrifying the kid because he was screaming and crying and snot and everything comes out, and they called cut, and the kid goes, "I'm really enjoying the choices you're making today with your character." And he's like, "Okay, Hollywood kid," but the ensemble, they got it right. They got it right in the first movie as well, but they got these kids right, I think. But
Especially
Eddie's
especially Ben, because he had the right stuff.
yeah,
Yes.
he was
Yep.
hanging tough, girl. Don't go, girl.
Yes.
But
Right stuff.
I
you go,
enjoy that we are
Welcome to the
genuinely
conversation.
getting a little bit of their school life as well. This felt of its time relatable.
Mhm.
They're running with Henry, Belch, and Patrick, Victor. You know what it's like to go, oh shit, I got to go the other way outside of school. They're there. Oh fuck. Those older kids and the summer holidays. It's very of its place. But Bill is, and I don't think we saw this much because of obviously the time.
Mhm.
Bill is still looking for Georgie. Like in the 1990s version, it was pretty much accepted that he was dead because I would assume they found his body in the 90s version, right? I don't remember them saying they
I
didn't
can't
find his
remember if they
body
did either.
because this is the thing.
I,
When
I
these
do know
kids
he
go
went looking in
missing,
the Barrens. They went looking
Yeah.
in the Barrens. But was it for the body or was it just for Pennywise?
I don't know. I just think that they used to play down there when they were kids, but it wasn't really inferred because if you think back to the
Okay.
miniseries, if you think back to the miniseries, that little girl that on the tricycle, her mother reacts to seeing something, so the body was obviously there.
Okay. So
But
in the
I don't remember them saying that they did anything about it.
so in both adaptations of film, it's never confirmed. They just assume it.
Yeah,
In the book, they find his body and they assume he died of
Yeah.
his injuries.
yeah. Well, it's obviously here
Yeah.
because Bill has this intricate system and
And his dad
diagram
didn't
and
notice until he's done with it. And I'm sure it's taken him this long to set up in the garage, and then all of a sudden his dad's like, "Hey, get this down."
but isn't
And you
that
can tell
don't you
there's a lot
remember
of
being don't you
bad
remember being
family
a kid
dynamics going on.
I
don't you
mean,
remember being a kid and doing stuff like that, just be like creating this like awesome thing, and then your parents actually realize what you're doing, like pull that down. Yeah, oh shit, right here. I remember creating a little like lake/river thing in our backyard, and we like dug it all out and put lining in there and put tiles in there and put water in there so it could all flow around. It was real cool. And then my parents came like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Looking for my dead brother.
Fill it in,
I
kids.
don't know.
Yeah.
I
Looking
felt
for an
bad
arm.
for him because clearly this is also a story about trauma and grief, and he's just trying to process what's happened. And his father, who is also probably in the throes of grief and trauma, is not handling it probably the best and yells at him. And I would like to think that they had a conversation later on that was like, I handled that really shitty. I'm so sorry, but I can't handle this right now.
So I want to talk a little bit about Beverly.
She's a star.
Beverly Marsh.
She's a
Beverly
freaking
Marsh.
star, that Sophia Lillis star.
Now look, older than the boys, right? But that is a thing, you know. Girls do mature quicker.
As the female in the room, I always looked older than my male friends, always. And now apparently I look younger. I'll take it.
That does become evident later on as well when they're at the swimming hole, and that's a whole big, revelation for the boys. That's very funny. I like that there's a good sense of still childhood naivety and innocence in this, and watching it slowly get stripped away. And the reality of it's when you look at it, it's quite dark, especially when we dive into some of these kids' backstories as to what's happened to them and their families. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ. But that's the facade of suburbia and safety and childhood and all that stuff, when everyone's like, oh, it was so innocent back in the day. I'm like, was it? Or did people just not talk about it? And that's the whole point of Pennywise as well. He's bringing all this stuff to the surface that nobody really talks about.
I think we're all really happy that we're not.
Door stays behind closed doors.
I think we're all very, very happy
thing.
that we're not talking about that one part in the book.
We'll talk about that later. That's a later thing.
That was an easy cut.
Yeah. Even as you said, Ben. I think they got Ben right as well.
I don't think there was a miscast. I think it was a hit. I think every single kid was cast so beautifully.
He was a cute little.
I think it is hard though because that is such a large kid cast as well. I feel like Stan and Mike get a little bit of the short shrift, but it is what it is.
You know what I was really happy to see? That even though Finn Wolfhard was probably the biggest name in this movie, besides Bill Skarsgård, of course, they didn't make it all about Richie. And they very well could have, just because of who he was. And I really, really, really liked that. I liked that they put the focus elsewhere. And I feel like that was a very deliberate choice. And it was a risk. Yeah,
smart
but
casting
it was smart
choice as well.
Yeah.
Because they could have cast him as Bill. You know what I mean? He's leading a very popular worldwide teen TV show. The smart thing would be to put him in there. But as part of a bigger group, he works. And I think that's the problem with Stranger Things as well. There are so many cast members that there are kids that not kids anymore because they've been waiting so long for this last season that shine brighter than others just because of the character they have, and you kind of other characters kind of fall to the back seat. But I think it was used well here, and I think that they cast the bullies well as well. I mean, you look at the difference between our Henry Bowers from the 90s and the Henry Bowers from 2017. This kid's a little psychopath.
Yes, he's terrifying. But I did want to say about Richie, I feel like he's very much his Stranger Things character in this movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
And sometimes that hurts a film when you're casting the same actor to pretty much play the same part that they have the notoriety for. But I think it worked in this because Richie is the comedic relief. He is in the book.
But see, I think that they also maybe kind of cut some of Richie's funny and gave it to Eddie.
Yes, I agree with that.
Eddie is very, very funny. Like even off
A lot
the cuff
different
stuff.
than he was in the old one.
Yeah,
Right.
He is
yeah.
funny, and I do think I agree with you. I think they probably did do that because it was getting too like, oh, you're a little too much like your character in Stranger Things. Let's push this around somewhere.
Jack Dylan Grace is my favorite. I can't. It's just every line. Staph
The way he can
infection,
deliver a
God.
fuck you.
Yeah, he is a
Okay.
very passionate little kid. And just
I love when he's working.
he wasn't pathetic like the other Eddie, you know?
Right.
Mhm.
Other Eddie was this small, weedy, pathetic kid. This kid was just a regular kid that had a fucking crazy mother. But he's just so funny.
In the nicest way I can say it, Eddie is a chihuahua. He is tiny, but he is a mean motherfucker. Like
he is, and just the one-liners that he gets away with, I just like he's funnier than Richie, and Richie's supposed to be the comedian. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
I think the scene where they're working on Ben in the alley, and he's like, "Just let me focus, get my bifocals." Like,
suck the wound. It's like,
These are gazebos, Mom.
fucking gazebos. To Rowan about he just gets the best lines, but we are jumping ahead. Ben, beautifully cast. And I like that even early on in the movie, we are starting to see them experience Pennywise individually, which was the cool thing about the 90s one, I think, was we got so much time with each of them seeing their manifestation of Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
The library scene with Ben is creepy as shit. I'm sorry. That looking in the background and just seeing that old woman on pause.
Definitely.
It's just like, oh God, and then we get the balloon. But I like that we referenced, if you've read the book, you know all about the many, many, many horrible things that happened in Derry. The factory explosion on Easter, that was cool. The eggs, the headless burnt child running after Ben. It's stuff that we wouldn't have seen in the 90s, and I think that's what really appeals in this. It's still, kids could still watch this movie, but it's dark. It's a dark kids movie.
It is. We'll have to have a talk about categorizing this as a kids movie, but we'll get there. I think what I really, really favor about the 90s one is, I mean, as we've all come to know, I am a big, big fan of practical effects. And I think when they are just executed the right way and with a lot of care, they can be scarier and more realistic than any CGI effect. And I think that's what the 90s one does so freaking well, is those practical effects are on. But the CGI here is done really well too. Like, it's not overdone. It's probably mixed with some practical effects. And you have this amazing cast where there's not a miss with any character.
I think there are plenty of really good practical effects here. You've got to think, when Mike sees the burning arms and stuff come, like, all that's practical.
Oh yeah.
That leper thing that Eddie sees is just
there is definitely a good mix of both in this film. I'm just saying, in the 90s, they didn't have a choice, really. Like, it had to be it had to be some really bad computer graphic. So they had to work with it. And that's what I really appreciate about it, even though it's really traumatizing still.
And the trauma is not just from Pennywise. That Henry Bowers scene is, he pulls that knife for such a long time. and that cut is big, and it's real violence. Like
Yes.
we get Ben in the 90s got a little bit of a scratch. This kid's like bleeding,
Yes. Yes.
bleeding, and the violence of that chase, and
He is
the
so angry.
Yeah.
He is so angry. And I think that's what makes him so scary, is because he's so angry, and his angry is just making him so hateful. There's not a redeeming quality in that child. It's almost sad to think that this child is so angry and so hateful that he could do that to someone.
But I think we all knew a kid like that growing up too.
I don't think
Right.
the meanest person in my life could never, ever.
Somebody whose parents could do worse things to them than anybody they knew could, so they had nothing to fear as long as they weren't at home.
Right,
is true.
exactly. And then he was taking control of his situation because, lack of control in his own home and growing up. But we get our first, and these kids are starting to age out. You know what I mean? These older kids, it's like their last vestiges of childhood. So while Bill and his friends are looking for Georgie, obviously that's what they're down in the Barrens for, and they find Betty Ripson's sneaker. When Belch goes, it's Belch that goes, isn't it? First, no, Patrick Hochstetter. Patrick.
Hochstetter.
When Betty Ripson finds him, and we get that whole. You can tell in this whole conversation we've been having about the question of reality. He's like tripping out and going, "What the fuck's going on?" And then this balloon just comes hauling ass up the sewer and explodes to a horrible clown. And it's effective in the way that it takes care of things. I think, like we talked about in the 90s, there's this ambivalence as to what happens to the kids, but these kids know what's happened to these kids. It's not like, oh, they went missing. No, there's horrible, horrible things in the sewers underneath Derry, and it will rip you apart. And we get to see that. And it's a worry. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What do you think about that? The one thing that was kind of a bit weak for me is Stan's manifestation of
painting.
That weird painting lady.
Yeah,
Her name
but
is
also I
Judith,
can kind of
by the
relate
way.
because to me there was like whenever I was a kid, there was always just some certain thing that just freaked me out for some weird reason. And if it would have been as strange as that painting might have been, then I can definitely see that as, like no matter what's going on, I have to go into this one place all the time, and there's this one thing that it's a manifestation of all my other fears because it just brings such fear to me that being scared of that reminds me of how scared I am of everything else. And Stan's a pretty scared kid, so
He is. He doesn't. Yeah, he's a little bit of an asshole too. This Stan, I like that. This Stan has a bit more backbone than the other Stan. He's like, "You're all bastards." I'm like, okay, you
And
all.
what this film does really well is it sets the scene of immediate dread. Immediate. No matter what the
Pervasive, too.
situation is. Like, it's like chokes you. Like, it's so tense. It just kind of takes a hold of your whole body. Like, you feel yourself getting tense. Like Patrick
in so many ways too. In so many ways, because everything, yes, all the horrible things that happen to these kids because of Pennywise and it, but even there's something sinister about Eddie's mother.
Yes.
The way
And
that she
Beverly's
shot
father.
her face. And well, obviously we're going to talk about
Yeah.
Beverly's father now. But
she looks real bloated too the first several times you see her. Like it looks like they just did something to her that was
there's
a
something
little uncanny
wrong.
valley.
There's something wrong with everything in this town. And even Patrick, sorry to cut you off, but
it's okay.
even when in the background when the the TV's playing, and it's all like I really noticed at this time it's all referencing stuff about floating and coming to play with it's all encompassing everything in this town. Even Mr. King at the drugstore when he's talking to Beverly, he's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's something creepy about everything to do with Derry.
It's just
despite
this
it looking perfect.
oppressive feeling of dread. And like when you see her sitting in her chair talking to the boys, like, where are you going? It's like you feel like if you give a wrong answer, something bad's going to happen, and not like a scolding or a grounding. Like something bad will happen if I give the wrong answer here.
Like
Richie
Beverly and
didn't
her
care,
father.
though.
Right.
like Beverly and her that is some really good acting. Though those two actors, would have to be a very hard scene, like hard scenes to film.
Mm-hmm.
But so he is so menacing, and she's like so good.
Did y'all get a little different vibe from this one than the older one between their relationship? Because I didn't feel so. The old one didn't feel so predatorial. This one feels like the dad's
this one,
definitely doing things he shouldn't be
and I
doing.
think that,
he touched her face, and it's like, it's this
her hair.
It's an intimate touch, but it's not intimate in the way it's supposed to be intimate between a man and his child.
Father and a daughter.
Yes, it's intimate.
But I didn't get that feeling from the old one. It just felt like maybe he was a little,
no, you felt like
abusive at most, like just
in the original. This one, he is a full-blown predator.
Yeah, and I think that that's the point of the difference in movie. We could imply things in the 90s. We can pretty much say it outright in this one, and it reflects. Beverly cuts her hair off because of what's happening.
That broke my heart.
She wants to look more like a boy.
Delivers so well, and
because none of it's her fault. None of it is her fault.
Well, none of this is any of the kids' fault, and it's a really good analogy for growing up. I guess you have to deal with the horrors that are presented to you.
I just felt so much for her in that scene, because I know what it feels like, and I know what kind of pressure girls are under. And God, just the fact that she is just looking in the mirror and she's broken, and you see it, and she's just cutting her hair off,
blood,
praying that it's going to help.
The blood is all I'm going to say. I don't think I've seen more blood.
There's more blood in the second film, actually.
I know, but like in a horror movie with children, I don't think I've seen more blood. That's a lot of blood.
It is so much blood. It is so much blood, and this movie touches
levels
on
of blood.
This movie touches so many taboos that you're not supposed to do with children, and it just kind of says, "Fuck it, I'm going to go for it."
And it's so interesting that the metaphor of her, she's maturing, she's growing older, so the thing that's going to horrify her more than everything else is blood.
Yep.
And it's really very interesting comment on childhood and shared trauma and all that kind of stuff, which we could talk about forever, but we need to keep moving.
Blood and hair. Yeah.
We're trying.
Yep. Blood and hair, baby. Blood and hair. So they all realize that they're being stalked by the same entity, and because it appears to them as different things, they label it, and it preys on people's worst fears, awakening every 27 years to feed on the children of Derry.
Don't we know another character like that?
But what about how the one scene that I remember watching in the cinema that really made me go, holy fuck, what's going on, is when they're in the garage and it comes through the projector. It was very much like the book. Remember the book in the first one, and he skips through and roars at them? I was just like, holy fuck. I wasn't expecting it at all for this giant Pennywise.
I knew that was coming. Like, they were building it up. They were building it up for a big old jump scare. Like, you can tell when the tension, like, it has to break. And it's either going to break by like something crashing in the background and the kids just like focus somewhere else, or it's
there's not a lot of that in this movie though. It's just like, oh no, we're just going to fucking horrify you.
No,
Go.
and I appreciate that, because when a jump scare is used very like in the right moment, it's effective. When you're just doing it just to do it because hey, it's a jump scare, then it becomes hokey and it becomes redundant and it's not scary anymore. That scene didn't scare me, but I still think it was effective.
It was effective because it did that whole blurring the lines of reality. He comes out as in an unnatural way, unnatural size, and in the blink of an eye, he's gone. And there's not really any reference that he was there. That's like, oh, okay, am I going crazy? And that's part of what it gets off on. It drives kids crazy. It likes the fear. It makes them taste better. It's that creepy. The one thing I did like about this adaptation, though, is that they used the house on Neibolt Street, which is a huge part of the book, and where Eddie gets his encounter, obviously, with the upside down triangle of balloons. It's all about uncanny valley stuff and the leper. But it kind of, I like when they give us a concrete location, like the 90s version, go into that, the pump house. It's somewhere to set it, and it's like an iconic thing where they head into the sewers here. We get a big set piece in a very different way, but I like that they use the house and it gets really used really well for them separating. We do get a Pennywise 1990 little cameo in the attic full of clowns. I love that Richie, who is the clown, is scared of clowns in this one, that they've really pushed that. And if you look to the left-hand side, you will see Tim Curry's Pennywise looking there, but as all the clowns
I truly
scare Richie.
I love that they kept Beep Beep Richie in there.
Yeah, they got to keep it.
Well, not all movies will do that. And I love it. It's iconic. Like one movie I can think of that pulled out an iconic line from the movie, and I hate it for it, but it was in the previews, was Evil Dead in 2013. They had in the trailer the Deadites saying the "Don't make a peep, time to go to sleep," but it's not in the movie.
Yeah, it's not in the movie, is it?
And I hate that. I hate that because that part in the trailer freaked me out. Just the way she looked and the tone of her voice, it freaked me the hell out. I honestly think the Beep Beep Richie was better in this one. I love Tim Curry, but Beep Beep Richie was much better in this one.
I also love that this Pennywise has a sense of humor a little bit too. He really enjoys playing with his food. The doors that the doors that they have to go through. Not scary. Very scary. Oh, well. There's half of Benny Ripson screaming, and it's just gold. But the real life, real world danger is present too when Eddie breaks his arm, and that scene of him, and that's the scene I was talking about earlier. It was that scene where he's like screaming it and drooling all over him and stuff. When he comes out of the refrigerator. But these kids don't fuck around. Not only did that rock fight was intense. We didn't talk about the rock fight, but that was fucking intense. These are violent children. But they fuck Pennywise up too.
Oh, that scene at the river with Pennywise and the blood all over his mouth, just rock wall. Get over it. I know it's supposed to be really unsettling, but he looks so happy. Like,
he loves it. And see, Eddie, he wins. But this
was good.
I'm wondering, because they fight, is the violence part of the whatever's wrong in Derry? Because look at the way that Henry Bowers kills his father. That is so intense and violent, but not violent. And then you've got the TV it's like psychosis, but is it psychosis? Or is it something that's in the water that's making everyone here violent in some way? Obviously, these kids have a good reason, because they need to save their fucking lives and save their friend's life. But it's interesting that the Losers Club really kick up. Like, they fuck this thing up. Stabbing it through the head, and like they fuck it up, and he disappears. I did like that. That could have been the end. and they could have gone, oh, fake it out. But I like that we do get this fracture within the group because of Eddie's injury and just the obvious, very clear and present danger that they are in.
Yeah.
And that moment in the street where they fight and Beverly's like, this is what it was, but they like, fear does weird things to people, obviously, and you've got to think, when you're a kid and no one believes what's happening, what else do you do?
Well,
They
that's
are in a very hopeless position.
That's fight or flight, man. That's just it.
Yeah.
And with Henry Bowers killing his father, that is just a culmination of Pennywise and
Everything.
a crime of passion, and maybe even going crazy from neglect and from this fucking
Abuse.
clown or abuse. Yeah, it's a little bit like, if anyone said name a crime of passion, I'd probably say Henry Bowers, because like there's no other
It
way.
seemed like he was close anyway, and then all Pennywise had to do was like, here's the knife, and he's like, all right, yeah, I guess I was gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, basically. I mean, this kid is.
That's the insidious
angry.
thing about it, though. It knows what your deepest thoughts are, what your deepest fears are, what your desires are, and it's going to push buttons more so than Tim Curry's Pennywise that wanted you just to be scared. This thing wants you to be isolated and hopeless. It's bleak. This movie is a lot bleaker. These kids go through horrible, horrible things, as we're about to find with Beverly, who essentially has to fight for her life in this last section, right? There was no way that this, whatever was going to happen, was going to end well between Beverly and her father.
Mr. March deserved it so much.
Yeah. But again, the shock of that whole thing was horrific enough, to go through watching her be attacked and then having to kill her father, basically. But then to have Pennywise just there and it was done. You're like, oh shit! It wasn't a cheap jump scare. It's a jump scare that paid off really, really well because she was so scared. She was like, it was a culmination for her of everything, like Henry Bowers. And it was like, well, now's the minute I'm going to take you. Boom, you're gone.
Yep. She didn't even have a second to breathe.
No,
like
exactly.
The adrenaline.
I had to rewind. it, and I was like, "What happened? Wait, what happened to her? Where'd she go?
How'd she get?
She's just
The
gone."
adrenaline's pumping. The fear is pumping. She's probably sad. I mean, he's a monster, but that's still your father.
Right. But I don't even think she would have had time to process that. I think she would be in such a heightened state of fear, of survival instinct, that's the moment that her defenses were down. So that's the moment she could be taken. So once Beverly goes missing, the Losers Club reassemble to go and find her. But Henry Bowers is going to go find them. Again, the violence between, which we haven't really talked about, the outward aggression between Mike and Henry Bowers because of race. Nothing in this movie is clean or nice. It's all very, very like, and I think that's the brilliance of this concept, is that we look at small town America and the 80s or the 50s or whatever as a better time, as a time that things were more innocent, that bad things didn't happen. That's not true. People just didn't talk about it, as we talked about before. And this is showing the underside of Derry and the underside of the people that live there. And it's dirty and it's gross. Just like the sewer. Yay.
Just like the sewer.
Just like the sewer. But he gets fucked up before he gets to put a bolt between Mike's eyes. He gets fucked up down that well. Ouch. He hit the side of that hard. I was like, oh, chihuahua.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, and this is the part that Katie was talking about before, when we find its shrine, its whatever. I don't even know what to call it. It's like a nest. It's
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like a
weird.
nest. Yeah.
But that whole thing of, and it's like a serial killer's den. It has trophies from all of these kids, not only the kids themselves that are floating, but it has bikes, it has like just all this detritus that is in the sewer, but it relates to the kids. That obviously
Mhm.
we have to question whether Betty Ripson's shoe just happened to be in that sewer, or was it there to lure them into the sewer? Are these all the tricks of its trade to plop out
Yeah,
into
I
the
kind of
world
feel
to
like it's all deliberate.
mousetrap it? Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really. And then we get the dance scene.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
how
that's
I
kind of
feel
how I
sometimes
danced,
too.
though. It wasn't too serious. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I do too.
I
That's
mean,
me. That's me after teaching too many dance lessons. Dead eyes, dead face, just bopping
and
out.
and you think about it, a clown is supposed to be joyful. It's supposed to be fun. Everyone's supposed to be having a good time, and he is just deadpan. Just, I mean, his head isn't even moving, and the rest of his body is. It is unsettling. It's disturbing. It's
Because that's not the part he enjoys. And you see that in Skarsgård's performance. The part he enjoys is terrifying these kids. Everything else is a means to an end.
and I'm not even sure
His-
how I'd feel if that were me. I think I'd be like, "Oh, this is fucked. This is not good." Like it'd be a mix of
No.
like fear, of confusion, of no, I don't want to be in
But
this.
that
Okay, I'm just gonna stay out of
that's
the
the
sewer.
well, that's the moment that he takes to show Beverly the deadlights as well.
Yep, and then
Which
all those
I like. We get a different representation of the deadlights in this, as opposed to just a light in the
In his
tube.
mouth.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's unsettling too. Just watching his jaw kind of unhinge and just all those teeth.
I do like and again, they do this quite well. Little breaks in the horror and the tension to make you go, oh, okay, breathe. When Ben kisses Beverly to try and wake her up, they're all like, what are you doing, dude? It's like,
Right.
Ben, we need
oh,
to have
God.
talk about consent.
Right. Well, the whole thing is a bit non-consensual, right? In Beverly's case, it's just not really
Well,
a moment for
that's
her.
a really solid point that I didn't even consider. Like, she's never had a say in her whole life.
In anything. No.
And Ben just did the same thing to her. Holy shit, what a good point.
Oh, look at me.
What a good point.
It's like I was a film studies student. Stop it.
But let's
But
also
the
talk
real
about
heart,
how
the real
they just,
heartbreak. Sorry.
I gotta know, and I'm sure it was all coke fueled. I'm sure, because most of Stephen King's stuff is coke fueled. What on earth possesses you to write a horror novel about a clown? And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, let's throw in a child orgy in there. Let's just do it, just for fun. Just for fun.
No,
Copy
it
me.
wouldn't be at this. It wouldn't be at this point yet. Would it be?
No, it would be right around this point.
Yeah, it would be at
Yeah.
this point in the movie. See,
It's like their little
parts
hedge
of
of
that.
protection before they go in there.
It's
Part of that I think is missing. I not that I wanted the child orgy, but I think the stuff that happens in their lair. You know how they do the smoke ceremony, and they all
Yeah,
see things, and it gets
it-
a bit mystical and whatnot.
yeah, it could have been reworked to
Yeah.
not be.
It doesn't need to always be an orgy.
They also left out Henry Vower's little trailer park version of that from the book, where him and his friends were sitting around lighting farts on fire,
Yeah.
and then all but two of them left, and
I mean,
Henry kind of.
Do we really need
experience some
another
things.
movie where people are lighting farts on fire? There's plenty. There are plenty. There are plenty.
What
We are
what
okay
I do like
without it.
here, and again, because of the performances from the actors, Bill and Georgie
Mhm.
was so well done, and not just from that little kid that plays Georgie
He's so good.
has some range on him.
So good.
When he's like, I want to go home. I want to be home with you and Ma. I was like, oh, that's heartbreaking.
It
that
is.
poor little thing. And it's just so, as we said before, insidious and gross that he's really pulling on that emotional string. But the boat is the thing. The connection, the real connections between the kids is what exposes it.
Mm-hmm.
I think was really cool to see. Where he's like, you call boats, but you're not Georgie. Boosh. I was like, oh shit, okay, we're doing that. That was intense. Watching a child kill another child on screen, and something that we probably wouldn't have seen, obviously, in the 90s. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, that was a headshot. There was no question. The very interesting part, as I was about to say, is that he gives them the option to sacrifice Bill, and they don't take it. Like, it looks like it looks like it in this. I was like, they're not gonna like do a big bait and switch, are they? And go, oh, cool, Bill's gonna die, but we're all gonna regret it later on. That's down to Finn Wolfhard. He did well in this scene. Like, he's a good actor. He's a great actor.
He is.
He did well in this scene, and again ends up to the fucking Lollapalooza, fucking World War III WWE Hell in the Cell moment against Pennywise. They fuck him up, and that's so cathartic to see for these kids that have just been through so much. They get to fuck it up, and then realize that they have the power, because if they're not scared of him, he loses. And I like seeing that in this movie, which we didn't see in the 90s. You see Skarsgård's Pennywise, whatever you want to call it. You see it afraid. You see it injured. You see it losing, as opposed to turning into a giant spider for some reason. But that's fine.
You didn't like the spider?
I think we all had very big feelings on the spider last time.
I mean, you probably see spiders that size down under, don't you?
Yeah, look. But I like that there is still not a question that it is, even though it is defeated-ish, that it's still there. Like, Bill knows that it's still going to be there. But the whole emotional wrap up of him finding Georgie's raincoat and the reality of what happened and all those bodies coming down, it was, I think, an emotional release moment that we needed at this point. Them all hugging, them all going, oh, we made it. It was the breath out that we needed at this point. And again, we get the moment of the summer ending and being able to take a little moment to start to forget. I like that even in this part, they're starting to forget what's happening to them. So they make a pact with, ouch, first of all. They make their blood oath to return to Derry as adults if Pennywise ever returns.
This is like right in the middle of the AIDS epidemic. Like, the fact that they're doing that. No, I'm serious. That was a very real thing that people were afraid of in the late 80s, early 90s.
It is mentioned earlier. It is mentioned earlier in the movie too. I think Eddie mentions AIDS in the movie.
That's a really big thing for them to do. To really that's a really big
says, I don't have
kind
AIDS.
of like faith and trust and genuine affection for your friends, because that was a very real fear in that time.
And again, it's a really good depiction of kind of those childhood friendships. At the end of this, they just fade away. Like, they don't get big goodbyes, except for Beverly and Bill. They have their moment, they have their kiss, but everyone else kind of just fades off. And that's kind of how childhood is. Unless you are kind of lucky, you keep those really close childhood friends, they just disappear. There's never usually this big moment where you're like, goodbye, I am no longer a child. It's usually like that. They just fade away like a childhood does. And I like that. I thought it was a good way to end.
It was a good ending.
Indeed.
It was a good ending. And they did leave it like it could be one movie. But obviously, at the end where it said it, chapter 1, we all figured out that there's going to be a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's ever a question of it not being 2 movies, though, right?
Obviously not.
I mean, if it
I
flopped
didn't-
horrendously.
I was
Well-
a bit surprised that it went strictly child and strictly adult. I thought maybe, it was going to kind of flip-flop like they did before, but I like the way they did it.
No,
Yeah.
I kind of figured they were going to do 2 parts like the original, just because I feel like the director really took a lot of care with this film, making
And we
sure
got
to
more
honor
time-
the
yeah.
original and still make it his own.
I think we got more time with the kids, too, which really helped.
Yes, character building
Yeah.
is always good.
And spoiler alert, they are back. The child actors are back in the next one as well.
Oh, good.
It's just obviously more flashbacks and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll discuss the performance of this film, because budget was roughly 35 to 40 million. Do you know how much this movie made at the box office?
So 40 million. Definitely made it back. I'm gonna
Oh, yeah.
say 120.
Katie, you want to guess?
Going higher. I'm not guessing,
Yeah?
but I'm saying higher.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, from a budget of $35 to $40 million, it 2017 grossed $704.2 million at the box office. Unadjusted for inflation, it became the highest grossing horror movie of all time.
That is wild.
Isn't
I
it?
just said higher.
That's insane. But it explains so much, because I feel like I was working in physical media retail at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Pennywise Fest. Anything with Pennywise on it, dolls, t-shirts, anything. It re-sparked. It made Pennywise a horror legend again, because it had that audience that was inbuilt from the 90s movie, and now they have their kids and they're going to go to the movies and see the movie that scared them, and they're going to talk to them, and then a whole new generation is going to pick up. So of course it's going to make money. It's just the
I
staggering
don't think
amount of
anyone
money.
has been like anyone. I don't think anyone has been like, they shouldn't have done it. They ruined the first one by making this one, so
No.
they hadn't had to deal with that.
Although my
Yeah.
favorite version of Pennywise is the Pennywise that is in love with the Babadook. So
All right, so I'm going to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, how many severed child arms out of 5 are
I
you
knew
going to
you
give
were go
it?
there. I knew you
Chapter
were gonna go
1.
there. I knew
Penny,
it.
as our guest, you may go first. How many dead child
I'm
arms
gonna
are you gonna
give
this
it-
one?
4.5 child arms.
Yay! Yay for the
Cut it off,
half.
cut it off at the elbow. Cut it off at the elbow.
Okay, that's
Oh,
fine. That's
We're gonna give
take that.
me a chance to show off my battle wounds. Okay, because I agree
Okay,
with
Katie.
the 4.5.
4.5.
For
Yep.
someone who really, really hates clowns and really, really hates Pennywise, specifically Pennywise, I thought this movie was just so well done. And as I've been saying, so much care was taken to honor the original, but still make it an original itself, to make it its own entity. And I loved these kid actors. I cared about every single one of them, even that little shithead Henry Bowers. I cared about that child. So that does a lot to the script, to the director, to the actors themselves. I mean, it was just really, really, really well done.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm going to maybe 4 3/4. It was a pretty perfect film. I don't know how you would improve on it. Would be my question. Would be my statement. I think it definitely took the parts it needed to, but became darker, which I think it needed to. Like, I appreciate that. And I appreciate that the horror works on so many different levels in this version of the film. It's not all supernatural. Sometimes it's just the horror that people do to each other that manifests. And I think that, yeah, the casts are magnificent. That even this, like the set, everything is A+, really. And it's pretty much close to perfect. So yeah, I'm the three. I guess what we're just missing the hand.
Yes.
for my,
I love it
for my-
when people ask me about these films, knowing I have a fear of clowns and this movie, and it's like I hate it so much because it's so good. It's so good. But it's still a fucking clown and it's still Pennywise, and I hate it.
And look, it's traumatized a whole new generation of people because as I said, Pennywise is an icon now. I don't think before these movies that you would. Pennywise was a bit niche and a bit for the generation that experienced that 1990 movie, and it was a direct to video store kind of moment. This put Pennywise into the mainstream, and now there is going to be a 3-season television show. The movies are getting re-released into theaters. They've got a whole. I saw in Halloween Horror Nights, they've got a whole display / projection moment for these two movies where you can go and look at the set, set and props and costumes and all that kind of thing, and then they do a screening of the movie. This has cemented him as part of the Horror Legends Club now, up there with Freddy and Jason and all those people. Pennywise is there now, and I think this movie is a big part of why, because it's not the Tim Curry version that is on the t-shirts and stuff now. It is the Bill Skarsgård version.
Here's my
whether that's right or wrong, but he has definitely put them in place, and you get your chance to see Pennywise on the big screen again. So if you're going to go and see it, let us know. We're going to have to check back in though, because there is a second chapter to discuss. So join us again as we sink down into the sewers of Derry for one final showdown. Question mark with Pennywise? But until then, this has been Uncensored Horror. Thank you to our very special guest, Mr. Kenny Legs, Katie McCarthy. I've been Steve, and until then, float with us. We all float down here. Bye.